Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I'm your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here today with Janet Laird, live and in person, the president of WellRive here at WellRive HQ here in Texas. Hey Janet, how's it going?
Great, thanks for having me.
It's really nice to be here with you in person.
I know, in person. That's great.
Yeah, there's always more energy, I feel like, when we can kind of come together, shake hands, and just kind of get that body language and everything. Yeah. It's really nice.
I agree. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Today we're going to be talking about senior relocation and senior moving. We talk about relocation a lot on this show. We've done 650 episodes about relocation, and I don't think we've ever once really dove into senior relocation.
Well, you're missing out.
Yeah, I know, and we're all getting older. None of us are getting any younger. We're all becoming seniors. Okay, Lord willing, out here, right? If we play our cards right, we're going to be old. We got to move one day, okay?
That's right.
So we need to talk about what goes into that and what makes it a little different and unique. So look forward to hearing about that and hearing about Janet's story and kind of what WellRive's doing different in the marketplace. Hit that like button. Get in the comments. I want to hear from you out there. If you've got questions, comments, if have you moved a loved one? Have you been responsible for a loved one's relocation? Have you had to go through that transition? What was that like? What was the hardest part for you? What did you maybe wish you had known that you didn't know, and now maybe you found out the hard way? Share it with us. Really curious about that. I haven't gone through that yet. I got to tell you, Janet, you don't know this about me, but I moved to Dallas in 2021 for the third time.
Wow.
And it was because my mom lives here.
Great.
And my mom's getting older. Mm-hmm. And my dad's up in Tulsa, so he's only 3.5 hours away. But I'm thinking about the day that I need to help my mom move, and what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
And that's something that you do all the time.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Well, talking about your mom, there's a lot of yous out there that have moms or dads or family members, and you think, she probably has a couple more years before she's thinking about moving, but sometimes you just never know. Life happens, and sometimes you're not prepared for it, and that's where I feel like companies like WellRive can assist families in that decision-making process and to take some of the stress off of the family. Because it is difficult. Every time you move, it's difficult. Moving is not usually in the fun category.
No.
So we try to help make it less stressful and a little bit more directed and,
Yeah, and I got to think in the senior space, we talk about corporate relocation all the time.
Right.
And when you're doing corporate relocation, you're chasing a new chapter and a new dream, and it's usually an opportunity for you and your family and your company and all that. And sometimes in your space, this isn't wanted. This isn't exciting necessarily.
Right. Well, that's true. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people are very excited to leave a home that is overwhelming and moving to a smaller space a lot of people move to communities where their friends are. So sometimes it's not so dreaded, but sometimes it is scary, and sometimes change is something that people struggle with. So especially if you lived someplace, can you imagine if you lived someplace for 30 years and then all of a sudden you're moving to a new neighborhood, new people, it can be very overwhelming and scary.
Yeah, it would freak me out. Hey, get in the comments here. I want to know what your thoughts are. Have you moved a family member who was an elderly family member or senior family member? Have you helped them downsize? What have you learned through that process? Rob Zeitz checking in from sunny and sumptuous Cambridge, Massachusetts. Nobody ever called Cambridge sumptuous. I need more information. We need to unpack that, Rob. That might be an awful conversation. Yeah, what does that mean? Sumptuous. Sammy, what's up? Love in-person shows. So excited. Sammy loves in-person shows when she doesn't have to set them up, okay? Super producer Sammy's chilling back in the office in Richardson. I had to set this one up myself. She's over there working hard, doing her thing. Appreciate you, Sam. Chris Lagerman, yes. WellRive and Janet Laird. He gave you like 6 exclamation points.
Wow. Thanks, Chris.
That's a lot. That's a lot of enthusiasm for Chris,
I
too.
like it.
He's a Wisconsin guy. They don't usually show that much energy. That's awesome.
They're nice people, though.
Yeah, they're just amazing people. Karen and Sam were excited to hear this. Yeah, Karen. Has anyone had experience with this? Really curious. Holly Holmes checking in. Hi, Janet. Hey, Holly. I hope I see you tomorrow night. Come check in with me. I'm down in Houston. It's going to be good times. But what are some of the specific challenges? We talk about, kind of generally speaking, but like, what do I need to really be preparing for? I'm selfishly talking about myself and my mom or my dad, whatever. But like, what are things I should be thinking about now before we even get to that point?
Well, it's never too early to start thinking about it and planning for it. I mean, if your mom's lived there for a while, even if she's not, we've become a society of high content, right?
Yeah.
And so the decision-making process of what do you usually use every day or every week? What's important to her? And some of the things that, you may go to a client's home or your mom's home and say, oh, she doesn't need this anymore. But the mom is like, oh, no, that's really important to me. And that decision-making process and the basing it square on, oh my gosh, she has to make decisions. I have to help her make decisions. And sometimes the family member's not the best person to help another family member make the decision. Sometimes it's easier for somebody, because you're both emotionally connected to each other. So having somebody independent of the family to come into the home, talk to your mom. She's the one in charge of the project, not me, right? We always have our clients be in charge of their own project, their destiny. We just help guide them through the process and help them make those decisions. And I think it's important to respect the client and what's important to them, because what's important to me is different than what's important to her.
No, that makes a ton of sense, right? It's almost like when you go to therapy, and you and your spouse are both going, and you need that impartial third party to say, hold on now, you're a little crazy, all right, but it's the same thing. So it's like you're kind of like this therapist for their stuff, right? And it's true, because I remember I just moved a few years ago, and every time I move, and we move a lot, my wife goes for those college T-shirts of mine, and she starts trying to throw out my college T-shirts, even though those things haven't fit in like 10 years. And she's trying to throw them out on me, and we get into this fight about them, But I can't imagine if like the whole house is memories.
Yeah, it's memories. It's grandchildren that made something for her, 20 years ago, or whatever the case may be, and it's sentimental, and parting with that is difficult sometimes. So
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And what size home do people normally like have to downsize? I see you, Rob. Get in the comments here. Lisa Frederick. Yeah, I love this. Such an important topic. Thank you, Lisa. Have you had to downsize a family member? Have you had to work with a senior family member? Get in the comments. I want to know your experience about that. What size home do they have to normally downsize into?
Well, it does vary, I have to say, because a lot of the senior living communities are pretty darn expensive these days. They have cottages, villas, so sometimes it's just a matter of moving from a 3,200 square foot to a 2,500 or 22 square foot cottage or villa. But sometimes it's a little more drastic, right? A 2,500 square foot home to a 1,100 square foot apartment. So sometimes that difference is pretty significant, and those decisions have to be made clearly. But it's amazing that when we go through the process with the client, and we do something called space planning, and space planning allows us to help the client visualize their new home and what their furniture will look like in their new home. And by going through that process, it's amazing how all of a sudden the light bulbs start turning on for the client and say, you know what, this isn't going to look good in my new home. Let's not take this part. I'll take the sofa table. I'll buy a new one that's smaller, that'll fit in there nicer. So sometimes it's just that visualization that helps the client through the process, along with obviously our project managers.
And how do you do that visualization process? Is that like technology? Is that a sketch? Right. How do you do it?
Sometimes it's a sketch, right? But most often we use something called Room Sketcher. It's a floor planning software app, really, and we literally measure the furniture, and then we put it in a 2D floor plan. And then we work with the client regarding what's moving, what's not moving. And then when we have the floor plan ready, they can look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, this looks great.
Yeah.
And so it really helps the client go through that downsizing and sorting process with ease and just a better understanding. So it's very, very important. I would say if there's one thing that's super important before they do anything on the move is to really go through that understanding process, that sorting and downsizing process.
Yeah. Well, I think we all need to go through it. You probably come to my house with room sketcher. I've been thinking about that recently, getting a professional organizer in there just to help me sort through some of that stuff I have.
Yeah, we do that too.
Oh, really?
We do.
Now that's something, so my wife's going out of town for 3 weeks. I think we could get on the calendar, maybe, and we could work through this.
She might not like us
Well,
afterwards.
she won't even miss it. She won't even know what's going on. Trust me, we moved boxes this last time that had stickers on it from the time before, right? And I feel like that's the cardinal sin of moving, is moving something that you never even unpacked.
But it happens.
It happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the comments here. I want to know if you've ever had experience moving a loved one or downsizing a loved one. Lisa Ross checking in. Hi, Ben and Janet WellRive. What a great way for families to navigate through tough transitions. Yeah, hey, Lisa, good to see you out there. Let's see, Rob Zeit says, I helped my mother move a few years ago. Getting stakeholder buy-in was a challenge.
I love that, stakeholder buy-in.
That's that corporate reload talk right there.
Yeah.
And then downsizing from a house to an apartment was also a challenge. I recommend planning the downsizing well in advance so you can agree on what will be kept in the new housing.
That's right.
Interesting. Yeah, super interesting. Chris, is that a common story that Rob tells there about getting stakeholder buy-in?
Oh yeah, that's really important. I feel out of respect and for the overall experience.
Do they not know they need to move?
Some people don't. I mean, some clients don't either because they have memory issues or other things that may not be something that is easy to tell the parent that they're moving, especially if they're. So, for example, if I'm living in independent living in a senior living community, and then I have to move to assisted living or to memory care. Usually, those are smaller homes, apartments, right?
Right.
But I've just got settled in. I'm perfectly comfortable in my apartment, and I'm already emotional. Sometimes it depends on the family members. But sometimes they don't want to tell their parents until the week of the move or the day of the move because they're so emotional.
Right.
And so we work very closely with family members and communities to understand the client and what works best for them. And then we are an extension of the family, an extension of the senior living community.
So what's that like? So the families put off telling mom that she's moving to another wing or to another unit. Yeah, I'm assuming, in the same kind of facility-ish. And they put that off till, the day before, day out, whatever. And then you guys have to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is that different than, what is that like?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult. We follow the lead of the family member or the senior living community, whoever we're working with, because we want to make sure that we respect the handling and care of the client who's moving. But it is difficult because sometimes they don't understand. And so, it's at the end of the day, it's the decision of the family member or the community, not our decision to communicate to the client about the move day. That's totally up to them. We're just executing the process and the care of that client as best we can on behalf of the family. So, but it is difficult because it's emotional. Oftentimes we recommend to the family member, hey, why don't you go take mom out for lunch? And then that way mom doesn't sit there and watch this all happen because it's much more stressful. So oftentimes the family member will take mom to the mall or take mom for lunch. And that way we can do what we need to do. And what we try to do is replicate as much as we can mom's apartment to look the same in the new apartment that she or he is going to be moving to.
Because it sounds time consuming.
It can be. But the planning that goes ahead of, there's a lot of planning that goes into each and every project, and the planning will help expedite and facilitate, because we don't want this dragging on for mom. We want mom moved and comfortable as soon as possible. So the pre-planning is key to make sure that we know what we have to do on move day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really interesting here. Chris Lagerman chimes in. So often you hear horror stories about people taking advantage of seniors. How does WellRive navigate these waters and show that their services are always in the best interest of their clients? Great point, Chris.
Yeah, that is a great point. So one of the things that differentiates WellRive in terms of move management from others is the fact that we understand that this can be a very difficult process. And what we work on is making sure that we have employees and not contracted labor. They're background checked. We make sure that they're fully vetted and fully trained, right? So that's really important to us, that we have somebody that has that background check, because if you think about it, to Chris's point, a lot of seniors are vulnerable. They have sensitive information that is often on pieces of paper in their homes, right?
Scraps of paper, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we need to make sure that our teams know how to handle that with utmost respect. And then all of our systems are, and I'm not a technical person in terms of data security, but they're all firewalled and protected, so that when we do have to, store information on behalf of a client, that is well secured. And so we do that. But data privacy and client privacy is very, very important to us. And we make sure that we have a team that is able to handle that situation by virtue of the process that we go through.
Yeah, Chris brings up a great point about, seniors are always getting scammed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we're all getting scammed out here. But you always read about these senior folks who are getting taken advantage of, and they're more susceptible, more vulnerable to these types of scams. And, moving companies are, a notorious industry for scam artists, for bait and switch routines, for, holding shipments hostage. And, we hear about it all the time, unfortunately. Yeah. And maybe I'm hypersensitive to it because I'm in this business. And so I feel like I'm always on the side of having to defend the moving industry. But when you have that kind of environment out there, like, how do you build trust with your clients, with the communities that you're working with? I mean, the whole thing seems like it's really built on a foundation of trust.
Well, it is. And so trust has to be earned every single day. And it's not easy, and sometimes it takes a bit, but we have very, very experienced project managers. We call them move managers. And the move manager is responsible for guiding that client through the process from the day that we talk to them on the phone initially or in person, all the way through the process of moving. And sometimes they might want the downsizing. I think somebody said that earlier, start now, right? So they might start downsizing in May, but their move isn't until November. So we keep in contact with that client and make sure that that client knows that we're here. And we try to stage things throughout that period of time so we stay connected to the client. But that project manager, move manager, is instrumental to developing that trust. And they have to like the person in order to welcome them to their home and really want to work with them. So we are really blessed to have such a great team of people on the WellRive side too that have experience working with our senior population. And we move others more than just seniors, but seniors are our primary clientele.
I like the idea of this move manager though. Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing, it seems kind of like almost like a corporate relocation approach to moving seniors, where you have this concierge kind of approach. You have, this person that's kind of guiding you through the process. It sounds like there may be kind of more than one service going on here, right? So you got to bring all those services together. They all have to kind of dovetail together, and the timing has to be right. You have kind of an overwhelmed, person. It sounds like it has a lot of commonality. with a corporate relocation.
It does. We're blessed to be a division of Corporate Relocation International, so we can take advantage of all the things that they offer us, and we partner together because sometimes we can help them, and sometimes we say, hey, here's a company that has employees that they need moved, and so we do partner together, but we get to take advantage of their international and their domestic network of movers so that we can operate nationally throughout the U.S. and support our clients, because there are many clients that move from one state to another, and obviously WellRive can help in that process thanks to CRI.
Yeah. Speaking of CRI, and shout out to CRI, good friends of the program here. Do you see a time when WellRive will also handle the real estate transaction for that senior who's moving out of their home?
Well, we, again, leverage CRI, right? So they have a network of realtors that we refer our clients to. So when we have a client that needs help, a realtor to help sell their home, then we take advantage of the network of realtors that CRI has established. And so, again, that's part of that full suite of services. Same thing with temporary accommodations. We can help them if they sold their home and they need an interim place before their new home is ready, then we take advantage, thanks to CRI, with those types of things. Yeah. So it's a really great partnership and relationship. Like and one more thing about data security. Anthony, our CEO, he had a book put together for data security and privacy, specifically for our clients, because we know how vulnerable some of them are in situations that they're in. So he felt it really important to really make sure our clients were aware of all of the things out there for their benefit. Even if they didn't choose WellRive to help them through the process, what's important is that we help the clients understand what's out there and what they have to watch out for. So I think it's great that Anthony had that put together.
Yeah, it sounds like sounds really great. There's a lot out there to watch out for. We got people coming in the comments here with some really good stuff. Put your questions in the comments. I want to hear your experiences. Have you moved a senior in your family? Have you been a part of a senior relocation? Jenny Kirby's checking in and says, I'm sure your consultants are also, in reality, therapists. How do you work with your amazing staff on helping with all the emotions involved?
Well, it takes a special person for sure. I mean, we go through a pretty laborious process of hiring move managers and making sure our talent team, does that selection process well. A lot of our move managers are dementia certified, for example, or have educational credits through NAPO or otherwise to be able to cope with that. But in a way, they're therapists, but I try to think of it more in terms of just, this is a business of the heart. If you can't find compassion in the fact, even if you're, a CRI employee moving from one place to another, it's very, very stressful. But fast forward to somebody that's 80 years old that's very, very nervous. If you can't think of that process and helping that client with some level of heart and empathy, then we don't go work elsewhere. It's a business of the heart. So we need to have people that really are emotionally and professionally tied to the process and to help our clients through it. That's what we're all about. We should have Carlos Huerca come in here and talk about how to hire for heart. But I think our whole industry, in the relocation industry broadly, that's one of the things I've noticed about our industry that I love so much is the compassion that everyone has. The curiosity, the empathy, the compassion. Right. It's kind of in your DNA, or else you're right. You kind of go find it. You got to find something else to do. If you don't have that. If you don't like people crying, in the summertime, this ain't the business for you. Okay. Summer tears out here. Okay. Summer moving. Oh, that's great.
That would be a good memoir. Summer tears. Get in the comments here with your questions and experiences. I love it. Dawn says, my 89-year-old dad decided to move from a 3,000 square foot, 3-level, 89, 3-level, wow. Goodness, God bless, 3-level house to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, furnished apartment and assisted living. He shopped 4 places and sat me and my siblings down and told us which one he had chosen. It was a big adjustment, but he thrived in independent living.
Nice.
Selling his house and all the contents during COVID was not fun.
I can imagine.
Oh my gosh. Sheesh, Dawn. How is he doing there? Is he thriving? Is he still with us, Dawn? How's he doing? Do you help with the selling and downsizing? That's something I know, and some folks in the space I've heard maybe they do that. It just seems like it's a whole lot of stuff that do you get involved with that?
Yes, we do. So if
Oh
if the client wants to put some of their items up on estate sale, then we partner with estate sale companies and help them through that process. So really, instead of the client having to find 5 different vendors or companies, they really have one company to work with, which is WellRive, I hope.
Yeah.
And that way we can help them. If we can't do it internally, then we have a vast network of providers to help. And then all the client has to do is work with their move manager, and we can help sell it, through the estate sale. And sometimes clients want to do garage sales and all that stuff beforehand, which will help them sort through that stuff so that they can have their garage sale in their community if they so choose.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people want to sell what they can, which is, of course, makes sense.
Yeah, there's got to be a more efficient way than garage sales to get rid of stuff. I
Yeah.
see people doing garage sales and they just look so miserable. They're sitting out there like
I had one.
baking.
I know. I had one client. It was actually in the Dallas area, and she wanted to do the garage sale. So we respect the client's, request. But she didn't want to sit out there, so she hired us to sit out there on her behalf. And of course, we were happy to help.
Meanwhile, she spent $300 on somebody sitting in her driveway. She made $150, sold 5 things.
Yeah.
But whatever, customer's always right?
Yeah. We try not to do things that people aren't, that's in the best interest of clients. Well, we obviously take that into account.
But I mean, I as a person, I've been on Facebook Marketplace a lot lately, right? And we just moved last August, so I've been Facebook Marketplacing, buying and selling. Actually, I sold I sold a TV projector.
Wow.
It wasn't bad. Got good money for it. Couldn't sell the screen for anything, but the projector I got great money for.
That's great.
Yeah. Still have the screen, by the way, if anybody, OBO, if anybody wants to come pick it up, okay?
That's right.
Next comment wins, okay?
That's right.
Hit that like button, get in the comments. We'll do a drawing for a projector screen. No, but I think about this all the time, as movers, because I came from the moving industry all the time. And people move stuff they don't need all the time.
It's true.
We know this. And I feel like we got to do a better job as an industry, the relocation industry, of helping people to declutter and sell that stuff. And it's not easy, and it's really like, but there's got to be a way to do it efficiently where it makes sense for them, makes sense for us. I know a lot of this stuff, frankly, as a mover, as a person moving, I would just give away. If you'll take it away for free for me, like if it's a cost neutral thing for me, and you go monetize it on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, because I remember, the benefit that I enjoyed the most, I did a full service move, my last move, full pack, TVs came off the walls, TVs were put on the walls, they were crated. I moved like 4 miles and all this stuff. But the thing that I was probably most appreciative of was the junk removal service.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys came out and took, I don't know, half a garage of junk away. Somehow I still have half a garage of junk, but it's like, I feel like we have to address that more often. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it is real. We call it a clear out, right?
Clear out.
So
okay.
if the client needs things disposed or donated, we help in that process. We don't do anything like Facebook Marketplace or anything on behalf of a client. We could recommend that to them, but we don't do that. But what we do is clear out the home. A lot of times it has to be cleared out in order for it to be put on the market. So we partner with the realtor and obviously the client.
Yeah.
And then we do make donation runs or disposal runs. If it's not going to go to donation, then we will absolutely make sure it's disposed of properly. We like to tell the clients in that donation or thinking through the process, if a family member doesn't need the items, then we like to make sure the client knows that, a new family would love to have X, Y, or Z. And really, they would love to be able to have that china cabinet that you've loved so many years, in their home. And so we try to talk to the client about options, and sometimes it's the best thing for the client. We try to, again, guide them through the process with utmost respect for the client's decision.
I had something like that happen a few weeks ago. I was in a Brahms parking lot here in Collin County, Texas, meeting an older lady who just downsized her home and was selling boxes of picture frames.
Yep.
And it was an emotional experience for her. And she's like, this one had my grandbaby in it. This one had my niece and nephew. This one had and these frames were, probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
And it was cool because we were picking them up for, I don't know, $5 a frame, maybe less. Mm-hmm. And we went and we upcycled them, and we spray painted them all funky colors and made a cool like art installation out of them. But she said, "You've been such a blessing today," because she felt like they were going to find a good home.
Yes.
And she cared about these frames. They didn't have the pictures in them anymore.
Right.
But she still cared about the frames.
Right. It's important to her, and so that was great that you did that. See? You're doing it from the heart.
Well, I mean, I paid for them. I didn't do it.
Still.
It's a business decision.
But still, talking about
it meant so much to her, you know?
Exactly.
And actually, I brought my son, too, which was kind of nice because he got to see the life cycle of it. We got people checking in here. Get in the comments here with your questions, your comments. Chris Logman says, the testimonials really tell the story. WellRive does a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. Dawn says her father actually passed, but he loved the place.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's just an inevitability, right?
Right. That's right. It's going to happen.
I think sometimes we don't want to talk about, we don't want to talk about death, but we're all going that direction.
Yeah, one of our biggest referral sources are repeat clients. And so we work with them, like some of our clients, we've worked with them moving from their home to independent living to assisted living. And then when they pass, we take care of the belongings that are left in their home so that we can clear it out for the next resident. But yeah, it's going to happen, and it's not always comfortable to talk about, but just knowing that we were part of making it easier for the client and the family member means a lot to us.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Dawn says we ended up renting dumpsters to clear out the house. All the companies like Salvation Army weren't operable due to COVID.
Wow.
Oh, jeez. That's the other thing. All this stuff ends up in a landfill.
Yeah.
Everything we're looking at one day is going to end up in a landfill. And that's kind of like a sad thought to me, and I mean, it's kind of one of the good things about the moving industry is like you're keeping something out of a landfill, because if you moved it's salvaged, it's continuing its useful life. But, I think about that, and, it's interesting as we talk about humans and stuff and the life cycle of both, and how it all comes together.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm getting emotional here on the show today, y'all. Get in the comments here, hit that like button. Let me know what you think out there. Got a bunch of people tuning in today talking about senior relocations with Janet Laird here. It's a good opportunity, by the way, to take a time out and just talk about, we got a really cool ultimate trip to Washington coming up. So go and enter at glomo.com/DC and join me on a VIP trip to Washington, D.C. 2 plane tickets and 2-night stay at a temporary living accommodation there, sponsored by Turnkey Housing, and 2 tickets to the Washington Commanders football game, into the suite, and we got an on-field experience as well, which is super cool. So yeah, come enter to win that down below. You see it scrolling there, glomo.com/DC, and I'd love to hang out with you in DC. So tell all your friends. Let's see here. Marco Maggiore says relocation isn't a transaction; it's a human experience where we're not just moving things, but moving lives, emotions, and expectations, and cars, all under the weight of change. Marco's on the auto shipping side.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Don't forget the cars, Marco.
Don't forget
Do you guys, what do you do with the cars?
Well, we coordinate that too. So much like Mark, I think his name is Mark, right?
Marco, yeah.
Marco, he's in the car transport, so we leverage companies that transport vehicles, and if a client needs their vehicle moved, we work with them accordingly.
Now, what percentage of your clients are moving locally versus long distance?
Most of them are. Well, I guess it depends on how you define locally, but most of them are moving locally. Obviously, you know that this is the time for long distance moves in the summer. That usually tends to tick up a little bit higher. So, but most of our clients are moving in the general area.
Staying put, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I know my grandmother went to her first assisted living facility. We sold her house here in Duncanville, Texas, and she moved up to Philadelphia because my dad had just recently moved up there, and so that was the family that she was going to be closest to, and so they moved her up to Philly. To a really nice place, super expensive, but really nice, and
that's where she lived. But yeah, it's a really great thing that you do, Janet, and WellRive.
We love it, and I love working for WellRive and just the what we do and working with the clients. I like to get out on jobs. I don't do it as much as I used to be able to do it, but when I can, I love to get on the project and help pack or help replicate a china cabinet or do whatever.
Why do you do that?
Oh my gosh, because I like to work with the clients, and at the end of the day, yes, I have a lot of focuses on spreadsheets and financials, but at the end of the day, none of that really matters if you're not doing what you need to do, which is to help clients.
Yeah.
And I just think it gives me purpose, and it lets me continue to have a really good understanding of what happens in the field. And I love it. I really do.
Yeah, I love that too. I used to love when I was in the moving business. I would love going out on our quality checks. That's what we called them. I'd go out there with my little clipboard, and okay, I have the cruising uniform. Yes. Do we use floor protection? Yes. Are the boxes labeled? Yes.
Yeah.
Talk to the homeowner. How's it going? Okay, it's going well. All right, great. And then I'd call my client, the relocation management company. Hey, you wouldn't believe it. It's going well out there. And they're like happy. And then every once in a while, you got to go and do some crazy thing and help out. You're delivering and the bar fell in the wardrobe box and all the dry cleaning's on the bottom, and I had to go run everything to the dry cleaner and press it all for them because they had to be at work on Monday or something like that. So you do these little things to try to get that perfect score, at destination.
Yeah, I love it when a project manager, move manager will say, "No, Janet, remember you have to do it this way." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right." So I like that nudge and that reminder, but it's also
are they keeping you on the process?
They're keeping me, making sure I'm doing it all right, and I love that because if you don't do it every day, you don't have the skills that you used to have.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm like, but I'm gonna innovate. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna find a better way to pack a box today.
Yeah, no, I have to respect the pro.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's why they keep us off the jobs, probably.
Yeah.
That's
Don't ever come back.
This was nice.
Thank you, Janet.
Once a year. That was lovely. Thank you so much.
Right.
No, that's cool to stay connected like that. I think that you learn so much. The instant you get in front of a customer, you just learn so much.
Oh, for sure.
We sit in these offices and these boardrooms, and we think about what customers want. We argue and debate, and then you go and you talk to a customer, and it just becomes instantly clear.
Yeah.
I just love that moment.
Yeah. Sometimes it's important because you have to be humble, and you have to understand you don't know. I think, oh, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
And then the field is like, yeah, but what about this, and this? And I'm like, oh. Let me tweak that a little bit here and get back to you. But you have to have a humble, personality and perspective, and it's good for me to be humbled every now and then.
Yeah, all of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was first starting my career, I was working in a call center, and I was sitting in this cubicle, and this guy behind me was a later career person.
Mm-hmm.
He would give me all sorts of unsolicited advice constantly. But one thing he said a lot of things that stuck with me. One thing he said, though, was always be helping a customer. And if you can't, always be helping someone who is. And I really love that.
I love that.
Because it just got to the point.
Makes you think for a second there, but I love that.
Yeah, well, it makes you think, too, because it's also sometimes we get into these spreadsheets so much that how far away from the customer are we? Is this spreadsheet helping someone who's helping someone who's helping someone and helping a customer? How far away am I? And so sometimes I like to just pick up the phone and call a client or call a candidate if we're working on a search, or call whatever, and just start talking to people or going to meet people and just pop in and bring somebody some muffins and see what happens.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
super cool. This is awesome. People are getting in here. They're loving it. I'm gonna win. Hey, Dawn.
They're gonna win that contest.
Yeah, that's great. Go for it, Dawn. I'd love to hang out with you in DC. Go on the field. You get to pick any game you want at the Commander Stadium. I like the Cowboys game, but don't pick the Cowboys game because it's Christmas Day.
Oh gosh.
My wife would murder me. I'd have to get a new wife and new kids.
Yeah.
I'd have to start over. Too old to start over.
You'd be on the list.
So pick another game. But yeah, good luck, Dawn. Yeah, super cool. Golly, I got so many areas my mind is going into. So do you market? I'm always curious. I'm a sales guy at heart, and so I'm always thinking about how do we market and go to market. Do you market directly to the seniors, or do you market through like an intermediary like the communities?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. We have good relationships with the communities. The communities are our largest referral source. But we also obviously advertise our services to clients. We work with a lot of realtors too.
Okay.
They're obviously moving clients or in the process of moving their clients. And so, yeah, we try to work through a network, whether it's fiduciaries, whether it's realtors, estate attorneys, things like that. But yeah, we try to work with a whole network of people that could take advantage of our services and for their clients.
So in some ways, it's kind of like corporate relocation, where in the corporate relocation world, we sell to companies who move their transferees, their employees.
Yeah.
And for you guys, you're kind of marketing to these communities who are moving their residents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now, who normally pays in the transaction?
Sometimes communities help towards that with an incentive program, but oftentimes the client or their family members are paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris Lagerman has a great question. Are the Packers in DC this year? I don't know, Chris. Why do you pull up the schedule, dude? It came out like 2 weeks ago.
I'm thinking of Packers. He's thinking of Packers.
Janet's over here trying to serious conversation about packing boxes.
Are the Packers in DC, huh?
Are the Packers? Are they late for the job? They were
late?
supposed to be here an hour ago.
I gotta go.
Oh my gosh, it's summertime. That is a reality of the summer. Oh my gosh, I used to manage a moving company. We were a startup, and we were just figuring it all out. Okay, and we were working for some of the biggest customers in the world, and we got so much business so fast that we couldn't possibly handle it. And we used to say yes to everybody, and we would figure it out. That was our MO, right? I thought that was, what a great strategy. I could write a business book about this, right? Well, there's a reason that all these really smart companies out there were saying no, right? So I would walk in every morning at like 7:45 in the morning, and I'd walk into the conference room, the war room, we'd call it, and there would already be like 3 people at the table. And it would already look like they'd been through it.
Been there a year.
and I'm like, what's up, guys? How you doing? They're like, good. And I'm like, what's that mean? Like, how many shipments are uncovered today? How many things are happening today that do not have a crew on them? Only like 3. I'm like, 3? I'm like, 3? I'm like, what time zone are they in? Like, I'm praying they're in California or something,
exactly. Right.
Oh my gosh, that was the summer that I decided to get a new job.
Yeah.
I was legit. I was sitting there one day with like my left arm over my head, like, and like popping baby aspirin, and I'm just like, and a recruiter called me and she's like, I got a job in Michigan for you. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But I mean, yeah. So summertime, crews falling off. Although last couple of years it hadn't been so bad, because volumes have been kind of suppressed lately, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this summer is like. Do you have the same seasonality that the rest of the moving and the corporate relocation industry has, where summer is truly like a peak season, or is it kind of year round? I mean, do you see a seasonality in the senior moving space?
A little bit. Sometimes you can't pick the time that a client has to move. They just have to move, right? There is some seasonality, like our Florida team. The general manager down there, she tells me in Florida that it's their slow time in the summer because most of people moving to Florida move in the winter time. They start moving around October through November, or
Okay.
rather through February. So I think it depends perhaps on the geography, but generally speaking, we do see seasonality to some degree.
Yeah.
Maybe not as high-low as if you were moving. Like some people wait for their kids to finish school. We don't obviously have
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, they don't care at all. They don't care at all what these kids are in school or not in school, do they? They're like, shoot, long gone
their
are the
kids
days.
are way past the school age,
Yeah,
right?
they're just buying these kids candy and giving them back to their parents.
That's right.
No, I mean that's got to be cool though, because then you could take advantage as a senior. You could take advantage of the fluctuation in housing prices based on seasonality too.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes they say, I bought and sold a house around Christmas time, and I think it's been advantageous for me. So, I think that's an advantage too. Interesting, super interesting. Well, Janet, this has been fun. Let's have a little more fun.
Oh, great! Is it a speed run, a speed thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do a speed. We're gonna do a speed. Well, you don't have to do it fast.
You didn't tell me that.
It's not. Well, it's not because I don't call it a speed thing. I
Okay,
call
good.
it overrated, underrated.
Oh, okay.
Overrated, underrated. Take your time. It's
Okay.
fine. We budget lots of time. We're gonna do this at senior moving speed. All right. Overrated, underrated. Do you know how to play the game?
Well, by virtue of the title of the game, I think so, but we'll find out.
Okay. Well, there's only two
only
things.
two choices.
Two things you need to know.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a topic, and you're going to tell me if it is either overrated or underrated.
Do I tell you why?
You should be prepared to defend yourself.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Because I then will tell you if you're correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
No one said it was fair. All right, let's get into it. Overrated, underrated, Janet Laird edition. First one up, work from home.
Overrated.
Overrated, all right. Well, we're sitting here in this beautiful conference room. Why is work from home overrated?
Well, I think it's overrated because you miss out on some of the intangibles that happen in an office. And then teamwork virtually is very different than teamwork in the office. And so now I'm sure there's going to be a large population of people that totally disagree with me.
They're at home right now, like
They're at
angry
home
typing.
working. Right, exactly. But for me, it is, I think being in the office is important.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Get in the comments, y'all. Tell us why we're wrong. No, I'm with you on that. I love it. I think there's a magic that happens. You know what I've noticed though? I wanted to say people are more productive in the office because I'm a CEO and that's just what we're supposed to think, I think. But I distract the heck out of my people. I'm constantly.
Maybe they want you to work from home.
I think they do. I am constantly like chit-chatting them. Hey, how was your weekend? Hey, what about this? Hey, you might want to go to happy hour today. Like, also, I'm like doing everything. Hey, what's for lunch? Whatever. If left to their own devices, they'd pack like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, take 30 minutes. I'm like an hour and a half. Let's go get, hot chicken. Let's go to this Korean barbecue place that just opened up. Like, whatever, like, let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I don't know if they're more productive or not, but I just like having people around. I think it's fun.
Yeah, the collaboration.
Yeah.
You don't get sucked into the screen all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's important to be able to interact. And oftentimes, Anthony or whomever could just be at my office door and they'll say something about an idea they had that sparks an idea from me.
Yeah.
And so it's just, but that wouldn't necessarily happen if we were working through screens.
Yeah.
So
Because he's not going to put 15 minutes on your calendar on Tuesday to
exactly. And so
tell you about this idea I had.
Yeah, I think that, and really just getting to know your team at a different level. I think it's important.
Yeah, let's see here. People are checking in with us. Daisy says hello from CRI offices. Always love being here. Is that a vote for in office, Daisy? Probably. Daisy loves being in the office. Sometimes, right? I mean, listen. I mean,
there's a balance.
Trust me. Every morning I wake up wishing I didn't have to put my hard pants, as my friend Eileen says, my hard pants on, and go into the office and battle. Like, but when I get there and I'm like in it, I'm like, I'm happy I did.
Right. Right. I have an hour and a half commute, so if that doesn't tell you.
What the heck do you do for an hour and a half?
Audiobooks.
You must be the most well-read person I know.
No, but I mean, it's important for me.
Have you listened to the complete collection of Anthony Horton on the Ride to Work?
Not yet. That's a great thing to add to my Audible bookstore.
Does he read his own books? Does he?
Yes, he does, but he's a reader for sure.
He is.
Yeah.
I love Anthony. Rob Zeit says it's underrated. Companies that WFH don't always invest in efforts to build teams and foster connections. It's a really good point, Rob. It's important to make that extra effort and not rely on organic team building that can happen in an office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
super
a good
interesting.
point.
All right, 1 point for Janet. She's on a roll. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Next one up, farming. Overrated, underrated.
Underrated. Farming. I live on 5 acres, so I'm like in the,
Do you farm? Do you have anything? Do you got any
we have
vegetables?
a little garden. We do.
That's okay.
We have a
What are you
garden.
growing out there?
Well, my husband, that's his job. He does the peas and the carrots and the potatoes and the cabbage. And all
I feel like
that.
of all the things I grew, peas seem like a lot of work for a very little return. Like I would grow a big thing. I'd grow like a cabbage or a potato.
Oh, he has a cabbage.
But a pea, I'd be like, oh, we did it, honey.
But that's the best darn pea.
That's a great pea.
But no, food supply, farmers, I'm all about it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I have friends out that have gotten into like keeping chickens.
Yeah, we had them, but the wolves ate them, and so we decided not to do chickens for a while.
God.
Yeah.
Wait, how did
The
that?
coyotes, they just
barged in.
yeah, they can when they're hungry, they'll find a way.
That's violent. People keep checking because they produce so many eggs.
Right.
And those chicken eggs have such yellow yolks, like golden
They do.
yolks.
Yeah, see?
I
about
crave
that.
it. Well, I haven't had one. I just see them on Instagram,
That's
and I'm
true.
like, I need one of those eggs in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, people are laughing. Kyle Blaylock's laughing over here. Yeah, dude, are you a farmer, Kyle? If you farm,
What would you grow? Get in the comments right now. If you had a farm, what would you do? One thing you'd have on the farm. You can't say peas. One thing you'd have on the farm, no peas. Let's see. Chris says, I've spent $500 on a vegetable garden for like 5 salads.
That's funny.
Chris is like, Chris, you should just get like a membership to a salad bar
Right.
for $500 for 5 salads. What did you grow, Chris? I need to know. Some arugula, perhaps?
So they were tasty.
I bet they were great salads, super vitamin
Great.
rich salads. I'm very curious. Yeah, I would definitely have chickens. All right, yeah, farming. I think we need to know how to farm. I think not knowing how to do things like farm scares me. Like I don't want to be like some doomsday prepper, but like we need to know how to like grow some stuff. We need to know how to like catch some water or whatever.
Right.
Like we need to know how to do some stuff.
Do something away from the screen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm in on farming, theoretically. All right,
Is
2
that
points.
another point? Okay, good.
2 points for Janet.
Perfect.
Uh-oh. All right, next one up. Overrated, underrated, television.
Overrated to the max.
Oh, why are you hating on? You're hating on television. Why are you hating on television?
It's not that I just watched a movie the other day. It's not, we don't watch a lot of movies, but the only reason, look, I think there's a place for it, but the only reason I think it's overrated is because it's coupled with all the other things on a device or a screen. I don't know if that's healthy. So,
Okay.
I mean, our whole society is, you go to the airport, what's everyone doing? They're
Yeah.
walking with the
Yeah.
or you just walking downtown and everyone's got the screen and they're watching TV shows on their little screen or they're in front of a TV. It's just so much. So, yeah. Sorry about that, but I know because we're in front of a screen, so.
I mean, we have literally people right now that you make me feel guilty for watching Love and Reload. Listen, she's not talking about y'all out there. She's talking about other
this is
people.
completely different.
Other people. This is educational,
This is educational.
enriching, not like those other TV shows.
I'm telling you, that's exactly right. A little asterisk there, but
All right, I'm going to challenge you.
okay, challenge.
I've done this
with several people on my show.
Okay.
Just 'cause feel
I
like
guess I didn't win the point.
we're in the trust tree here.
Okay.
How much average time do you spend on the screen each day? On your phone?
Non-work related?
On your phone, just on your phone.
Oh,
What's your average screen time on your phone?
Okay, have you noticed that I did not bring my phone in
She
here?
didn't even have her phone.
No, I don't carry it with me like
She didn't. She has a notebook, glasses, and a pen.
That's right. But I do like automation. I am very tech savvy.
I'm not saying you're not. I can't even ask her the question.
Okay.
So my average right now is down. It's 7 hours. I'm down 26% last week to 7 hours a day.
Oh, dang.
A day. She meant a week. She thought I meant a week.
No,
she just lost all respect. Can y'all play that back? Because she just lost all respect for me. Whatever that face syntax sequence was, she just lost all respect for me.
Phone? I don't know. Maybe I don't
Email?
know.
Phone call?
Well, email. Okay, but I
Navigation?
do it on my laptop.
Do you GPS with it?
Yes, I do. Okay, so GPS
That
matters.
would count.
That matters. Okay,
That would count.
maybe 5 hours a day.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a respectable number. People are getting in here. Kyle Blaylock says sweet potatoes and Vidalia onions.
Yum.
Kyle, you're just so sweet. Just not a regular potato, not a regular onion. Sweet, sweet of each.
Sweet, sweet.
Look at you, Kyle. You're just.
I love it.
Look at you regular blooming onion. You, Kyle. Kyle loves a blooming onion, doesn't he? With some sweet potato fries with that burger. Kyle. Rob Zayat says, I'd start a mini cranberry bog in my kitchen sink.
Ah,
Rob.
cranberries are good for you.
I went to Ocean Spray.
Yeah.
Ocean Spray, which I think was in Cranberry Township. They were doing a group move back in the day. And they brought all the vendors in to convince the people from the factory to move.
Oh.
And it was like from Pennsylvania to New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Or from New Jersey to Pennsylvania or something.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't like super, super far because they're bordering, but it was a big deal for them. So we're there and we're like, oh, it's going to be okay. You get a move. You get this. You get a mortgage. You get this. And they gave us a tour of the cranberry factory, factory. And they said, they showed us how it was all made and everything and all this. And they said that they had two people on staff whose full-time job it was to make recipes with cranberry raisins.
Yeah.
Because you know what craisins are made out of? They're made out of the byproduct of cranberry juice.
Wow.
So you squeeze the juice out of the cranberry, and then you reconstitute it with like 10% juice and like some sugar or something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you have a craisin, and craisins just have been used to take off.
Well, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I learned something new every day.
This is great. All right, let's keep it going here. Man, I'm gonna say television's underrated. I'm gonna tell you why. I think a lot of people would agree with you. Television's overrated, but I'll tell you what. Me and my wife love spending quality time watching the show together.
Well, there you go. It's
We
good.
sit on the couch. We'll watch Welcome to Wrexham, or we watched Bad Monkey recently. We watch these shows. She picks one, I pick one, whatever, and it's our time together.
That's good.
And I don't know. I think that's important.
It is important. Hey, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying, for me personally, okay?
Okay.
I love this show.
Oh, it's not personal. All right. Next one up. Overrated, underrated. Ohio.
Underrated. I have to say that.
Can't possibly be overrated. So, do you know the kids these days are using Ohio as like a slang for like uncool?
Really?
Yeah, they're like skibbity Ohio. They say this.
Oh, really?
Ohio, like that's Ohio, and it means like not cool.
Seriously?
I'm serious. You'll put in the comments, y'all. If you heard this, yeah, they'll say like, oh, that's like skibbity Ohio, and that means like not cool. And I just think it's crazy that Ohio's getting such a bad rap right now.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you gotta look that up. Somebody put a link in there.
Well, you know, I lived in Ohio for my
Yeah.
childhood.
So what's it
years.
like?
Well, when I lived there, Lake Erie was on fire, and it's come a long way, baby. No, Ohio is actually a very nice state, and I'm actually headed up there at the end of June for one of my reunions.
So they used to call, when I was young, they used to call Cleveland
Yeah.
the mistake by the lake.
Oh no, it's amazing.
Yeah, and now I've been recently. Well, I'd say like 7-8 years ago. That Brown Stadium, still a mistake. But the downtown, very lovely.
They've redone the flats. It's a nice
Very lovely.
place.
A great place for a visiting football fan to go.
There you go.
Enjoy a nice W. Meets the locals are very lovely. It's very nice. I was up at WellWorks recently. Shout out to Bob Rosen. Very nice. So I like it. Colder than you'd think.
It's right on the lakes.
Yeah, it's really lake effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't go there in the winter.
Yeah, Rob Zeitz is overrated. I drove across it twice. Every barn looks like the same. It's just a screensaver on repeat.
It's a screensaver.
That's a callback to your anti-screen stance, too.
It's right.
Nice job, Rob. Always with the comedy. Yeah, so my stepmother's from Ohio.
Yeah.
So I kind of hated Ohio for a long time because we'd have to go there. And then her whole family was like mean to me all the time because I was like the kid from the other marriage. It was bad.
What part of Ohio?
Lima.
Oh, Lima.
What do you think about Lima? Say, what do you think about Lima?
Well, I mean, I don't have an opinion. I'm not familiar with Lima. I grew up in Strongsville, and then I went to school in Willoughby, Ohio.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Ohio. You said underrated, huh? You know, I'll give you an underrated because the kids are just hating on it so hard these days. Kids out there, don't hate on Ohio.
Don't hate on Ohio.
Okay. You got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You got the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You got LeBron James. Ohio State. Some other people. All right, moving on. Next one up. That's 3 points. Squeak that one out. Marie Kondo. Overrated, underrated.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah. So Marie Kondo, for those of you who don't know, I never watched her stuff. But she was the organizing queen during COVID.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So during COVID, you had like Tiger King. You had like the Jordan. Well, this is TV.
Okay. No wonder
Marie Kondo had a show
Okay.
where she would go into people's homes and just organize their whole life.
Wow.
And I didn't know. I just took a shot on this one. I didn't know if you knew who this was.
No.
Because obviously organizing is part of what y'all do.
Right.
I never saw
her
it.
up.
All right.
Marie Kondo.
All right, that's a pass. Next one. Overrated, underrated. Was that our last one, Sammy? Sammy's giving me nothing. That's it? Sammy said that's it.
Good. I like.
All right, take it down. End on a high note there. Very good. This is a lot of fun. I know we're slightly over, but Janet, before we go, I was going to give you the opportunity if you wanted to leave us with a final thought, maybe.
Well, my final thought would be thank you so much for having me. It was really fun, and I didn't know what to expect, but it was a really great time. So thank you so much. And I'm glad we got to talk about relocation, especially as it relates to our seniors and how, people can help through that process, including WellRive. But there are a lot of other move management companies out there as well that can help. But we certainly do appreciate you spending the time with us. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. And thanks, everybody, for getting in the chat. We wouldn't have a show without y'all watching. So thank you so much. And then after this, I get to drive to Houston. And I will be in Houston tomorrow. And we'll be talking to Tom Groman. And, I'm doing a little happy hour down there.
There you go.
Tomorrow. Margaritas on me. So hit me up if you're in Houston. Anyway, see y'all tomorrow.